My name is Dusty Nabor with Dusty Nabor Wines out of Camarillo, and we produce Santa Barbara County wines throughout the Santa Ynez Valley. So first vintage was 2015, and as you know, wine takes a while to mature in barrel, so our first business year was 2017. So we had wine in barrel over 2 vintages before we even started releasing the wines in 2017. So I started in Paso. The first Cabernet Sauvignon we did in 2015 was from Paso Robles. It was from a family friend. And over about 3 or 4 years span, I just slowly worked my way into Santa Barbara County. I think the winemaking community took me in and brought me in under their wing, and obviously it was logistically easier. Being in Camarillo, having the winery in Camarillo, the travel time was half. So Santa Barbara just started to speak to me as the region that I should be in. This year I bottled 3 different Pinot Noirs and 1 Chardonnay. The Chardonnay we'll start with. They're all 2021, and they're all Santa Rita Hills. Hilliard Bruce was a winery that I believe closed down in 2014 or 2015. I'm not exactly sure, but and it produces a highly briny, salty Chardonnay every year. So we try and keep in that style, because this particular vineyard source doesn't really produce rounded Chardonnays. They're laser focused. They're very bright, and they have aromas of like lemon, lime, and green apple. Okay, so this is 2021 Spear Vineyards. So all of our Pinot Noirs from 2020 on are 100% whole cluster. So everything we do when we bring the fruit in from the vineyard is whole bunch. We just take the bins and dump them straight into the tank with the stems and all, and they ferment that way for about 2 or 3 weeks. I just love that it gives them more earthiness. It gives them a little bit of a greenness and pepperiness to them, and it elevates the aromatics a little bit. So whenever I vineyard designate, you can see we did 2 vineyard designates, Spear and Radiant, and then we did 1 barrel selection. Whenever I vineyard designate, it's very important to me that the vineyard designate represents the vineyard. It has to show my interpretation of what I feel that vineyard does best. And this wine is a really perfect example. So Radiant and Bent Rock, they call it the Pinot Bowl. Actually, Radiant is the Pinot Bowl, but Bent Rock is right next door. So Radiant and Bent Rock are a very inhospitable vineyard. It takes 4-wheel drive to get up there. You don't want to go up there when it's raining. You will get stuck. It is a vineyard that is driven by climate. The windswept hills make the berries small and tough. So you get a very dark, a very meaty, a very aggressive expression of Pinot Noir. It has this if you were blinding this wine, one of the telltale signs of Radiant is the color. It often looks like it's blended with Syrah. It has this almost impenetrable ruby center with a fluorescent edge that you sometimes get with Syrah. Both of the 2020 and the 21 have been fantastic versions of Pinot Noir from Radiant. And again, with the vineyard designates, I'm really trying to nail what that vineyard is trying to say in the wine. Otherwise, I don't find any purpose of putting a vineyard name on it if the wine isn't conveying what the vineyard can offer. And this certainly is. So this is a first for me. This is the 2021. It's a series that I hope to do in the future. It's called the DNWSRH, and it stands for Dusty Nabor Wines Santa Rita Hills. The idea behind this is barrel selection. So it's 100% Pinot Noir, 100% Santa Rita Hills, and I choose the barrels for this blend based on their own merits. So no interpretation of the vineyard. I don't look at the vineyard sources. I just try to come up with the best blend I can, and put those together to make the best wine I can. So this is more of a cellar-driven wine than a vineyard-driven wine. Now the vineyards in this wine are Radiant, Fiddlesticks, and Spear. They're not equal parts. It's about 50% new French oak, which is rare for me on Pinot Noir. But I think it did a really good job of, it brings around a flintiness that I just love, and an oak element. It's not oaked, but it has this oak element, as well as the oak tannins to make the wine a supple, soft, beautiful Pinot Noir. I think that as I evolve as a winemaker, the elements of experimentation, the elements of what I want to do as a winemaker are starting to come together. So I'm starting to figure it out. At the beginning, the idea is to make wines that are stable, that you don't have issues with. And now, as I start to grow into my own style, I think that I kind of throw that out the door now. To me, it's important to me that the wines stand out. It's important to me that they, if someone were to blind these wines, having experience with them, they would pick them right out, because they have attributes that are specific to them and to them only. That's the whole idea for me. I just don't want to make wines that blend in. I'd much rather a wine be interesting than delicious. It needs to make the drinker ponder where this came from, the hands that were involved in making it, the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that went into making it, the amount of emotional stress that goes into making wines low intervention, when you don't account for everything, when you're not trying to correct everything, and you're trying to bring the wines up over a year and a half on their own accord. They're doing what they want to do, and that can be emotionally taxing when you're not constantly correcting. So, and I think that the wines are distinct because of it. I think that they stand out because of it.